going on, everybody? Hope that you're doing well. We'll give everybody a few moments to chime in. Make sure, if you're watching this on the replay, be sure to click that like button. Be sure to click the share button. Be sure to subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, make sure that you hop on over to YouTube and subscribe to Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. Tonight we're going to be talking about the whole visa, passport, whole process and all of that. And I think it's really going to be good because this is informative. And we are going to add this to our Africa Travel Academy at bit.ly, Africa Travel Academy. It's free resources where you can get information about the international travel process that's relevant to not just Africa, but to many countries. And so a lot of people are finding out that they're getting in, they're being surprised by the whole passport visa process. And with the passport visa process, a lot of people become frustrated because they're not adequately prepared for it. And it becomes a discouragement for international travel. You'd be amazed by how many people do not have passports. Do not have passports. So if they need to leave the country, they can't. And so when it comes to having a passport, that is basically your license to leave your country of origin. So whether it's America, Nigeria, Brazil, Sierra Leone, the UK, having that passport is essential for international travel. Now, there's something in America called the passport card, which will get you between the North American continent, between Canada and Mexico, and by land. But as far as you're going to need a passport book, and we'll talk about that in a second. I believe that it's very important this is going to be a very important discussion. And so as we prepare for our trips coming up, we want to make sure that you're ready. And because we had so many people watching, they're still watching the Africa Travel Show, and we're going to be offering this content more and more. So as people are looking for resources to say, okay, what do I do next? This will walk you down that pathway. All right, so let's go and dive into this. When it comes to planning for your trip, what you're going to need, it will be a passport book that does not expire within 6 months of your travel date. It does not expire within 6 months of your travel date. And that means if you're traveling on January 1st, you don't want your passport to expire by June 1st. You want to make sure that all of that is done. So you want to have a nice, fresh, when I say fresh passport, meaning you want to have adequate amount of time so that you don't run into any situations. If your trip gets extended or anything like that, now you're running into passport problems. So do your due diligence, be ahead of that on the front end. Also, make sure you have adequate pages for your stamps in your passport. Make sure you have adequate pages, 4 minimum. I'm like down to my last 4 right now. And what will happen, some of these countries, when they give you a visa, they will take up an entire page. They will take an entire page out of your passport. And now that page is gone. So you want to look at how many pages you have. The average person has plenty of pages, but make sure that if you are someone who travels internationally extensively, that you have an adequate amount of pages, 4 minimum. The next thing is you will need a visa for your respective countries. And a visa is basically a license for you to enter that country. The passport allows you to leave your country of origin. The visa allows you to enter the country that you are going to. Now, not all countries require visas to enter. Not all countries. But if you're going to travel the world extensively and go to different places, 9 times out of 10, you're going to bump into a country that needs a visa. Now, once you book your trip and you receive your confirmation details, and this is if you're going with us, then you will get your confirmation details so you can secure your visa. So the passport book, and I touched on this a moment ago, it allows you to go international travel by air, sea, or land. So that's what you want to get. You want to get that passport book. That is International Travel Essential 101. You will not be going anywhere without this passport book. Who needs a passport? Everyone, to include infants. Everyone needs a passport. So there's no way around the passport. They might have something like for some diplomats or something like that. I'm not sure, but I know for the average traveler, you're going to need a passport. And you can obtain your passport many U.S. post offices, but if you go to travel.state.gov, they can walk you through the whole process where you can go. There are also third-party providers that can help you, and the fees vary, but it starts right around $110. They do have some increases coming up because the demand is high right now for passports because people have been on lockdown for so long, so the demand is high, and the wait time for your passport is longer than normal. The routine is 8 to 11 weeks. It's longer now. So prepare, extend that out another 11 weeks or so. Give yourself enough lead time. So if you're planning to go on a trip, say in June or sometime next year, you want to go ahead and get to work on your passport right now. So whenever it is, if you're 6 months out from your planned trip, go ahead and work on that passport now and get it taken care of. You can do expedited, and it's going to cost an extra $60 according to the website, but that may change. Everything is subject to change, so that's why you want to go ahead and do it. Expedited, they say it takes 5 to 7 weeks. I would go ahead and double that just in my mind because of the demand. Processing, and they're very clear about this, processing begins the day we receive your application, and this is them. This is the processing, the agency, and this is for the United States. Now, I would say for someone who may be watching in a different country, same principle here. Go ahead and start working with your country of origin and give yourself extra time just in case, because I'm a strong advocate, obviously for Africa travel, but for intercontinental Africa travel, where you can go to other countries within Africa. And if you, and obviously, if you have the required paperwork, that's going to make it a lot easier, especially if you have like that ECOWAS passport and you're looking to go to West African countries or people, those who are participating in that, makes it a lot easier. So go ahead and get that. And sometimes it's easier if you want to go to places like Dubai or something along those lines. Having that passport in order, regardless of your country of origin, is essential. So with this, again, you can go to travel.state.gov if you're in the United States, and they can walk you through all of the steps. Children under 16 must apply for a passport in person with 2 parents or guardians using Form DS-11, and it's good for 5 years. So some people are asking, well, if I have minors, well, both parents need to consent, and for obvious reasons. If you have someone who decides that they want to take a child out of the country without permission, then what happens at that point? These are things that you want to make sure that that you're up to speed on. I know that we've had a couple of situations where the parent thought, hey, I'm going to Africa and I'm just going to take my baby, and then they ran into the situation where they couldn't go on the trip because they couldn't get consent from the other parent. So just be mindful of that and go ahead and start working those negotiations now, if you will. Children 16 to 17, most applicants aged 16 to 17 must apply in person using Form DS-11, and passports for applicants 16 and older are valid for 10 years. So the standard passport is valid for 10 years, and this is what you see for children between the ages of 16 and 17. Obviously, once you turn 18, now you are considered an adult, and the ball game changes considerably. When it comes to visas, a visa is a document from a specific country which gives you permission to enter. And so the countries that we are visiting next year, Tanzania, Egypt, and Ghana, all require visas in order to enter those countries. So this is something that you now want to put into your mental block. If you're considering going to any of those countries, know that you're going to need a visa. Now, the difference in the process for visas with these 3 countries is very different between the countries, and I'll walk it down for you. So when it comes to Tanzania, the e-visa, and this is a really cool thing, you can do this online. You can get an e-visa, and it's $100 for the cost of the visa. For American nationals who wish to visit Tanzania for tourism or holiday purposes, must select the multiple entry visa option when applying online. And this visa, and I'll read it to you, it says multiple entry visa, said this visa multiple also is used to American citizens who wish to come for holiday or tourism purposes, as they are not entitled for ordinary visa. The maximum validity of this visa is 12 months. However, the holder of the multiple visa cannot stay in the country for 12 consecutive months. They are required to leave the country at most every 3 months. So that's just a note, for a lot of people. Tanzania is really popular right now, and so this is good. If you have a multiple entry visa, it gives you the flexibility in case you want to go back. Tanzania has Zanzibar, it has the safaris, and I'm discovering that people fall in love with these countries and they want to go back. So the website is right there, and you can review this. The website is right there where you can apply for that e-visa. And we will also add it to the description. So that will be a part of it, and you can click the link, and you will be able to see where to go to get your e-visa. And they are, and I've done it before. It's a very easy process with Tanzania. But they will ask you to have your paperwork in order, and you will want to have your confirmation showing that you are booked on a trip and you are legitimately coming into the country for tourism purposes. Next up, when it comes to Egypt, Egypt is very similar as well. Now, because Tanzania and Egypt both are very tourism-focused countries, they're making this process very easy. When I went to Egypt, it was also very easy to go in, fill everything out. I was approved for my visa within 24, 48 hours. Good to go. So again, here's the website. It's a very similar process to what you see with Tanzania. You fill out the paperwork. You provide them with what they're asking for. And single entry is $25, multiple entry $60. If you plan on going back to Egypt multiple times and you within the time frame, then you can go ahead and get the multiple entry visa. If hey, listen, I'm just going to go this one time, then single entry. But nevertheless, the process, they walk you through it as on their eVisa website. And again, when I did it, it was very easy, but I was also prepared, and I knew mentally, that this is just a part of it. I encourage everybody to always pack their patience with international travel. It is very different from domestic travel. It's not the same. And if you're not familiar, obviously if you're a first-time international traveler or you've never traveled an extensive distance by yourself or at any point in time or gone to certain countries, it can become frustrating if you are not prepared for it. And that's why we're creating this curriculum for you so that you can be prepared mentally as well as having all of your documents in order. So pack your patience. And I'll say it again, pack your patience, pack your patience, pack your patience, pack your patience. And when it comes to this next visa, you definitely gonna need to pack your patience. When it comes to Ghana has a very different process for their visas. And, some have said this, it's a bit obsolete, it's a bit kind of, old, process. But nevertheless, it's what their process is. I hear that they're working to change the process, because if they want to get the tourism dollars to come in, then you want to make the process easier. But when it comes to Ghana, you still fill out the applications, but the catch is you have to send in your passport to the embassy. They give you the visa. Please hear what I'm about to tell you. Please get the multiple entry visa. Please, they turn it around quickly. They do a really good job with this. Please get the multiple entry visa, because they've been giving 5-year multiple entry visas, and I hear people all the time saying, I want to go back to Ghana. If you get the single entry visa, it's not that much less. So you'll get 3 months on the single entry visa, where you'll get potentially 5 years on the multiple entry visa, and it's only $40 more. Now, obviously, you do expedited service. It's a little bit different, and you can see the different turnaround times. And they're pretty good about all of this. This is why you give yourself enough margin to go through it. The way that and you can go to GhanaEmbassyDC.org. They walk you through everything. You click the little tab on the home page, and it says Visa, and you just give them the information they need. You will need a confirmation of your accommodations in order to go. If you book with us, we have all of the everything else that you require as far as contact information and all of that. That's why it's good to be able to have things in order. And by doing it like that, it makes the process go a lot smoother. But I encourage everybody to pack their patience with the process, because again, traveling in America is one thing. You get on the plane and you go, and even times when you go to Mexico or you're going to Canada or you're going, well, Canada's a little tricky right now, but if you go into countries that are close by or get down to the islands, you don't typically go through this. But when you start getting outside of the continental United States and you start getting away from European countries, you start running into the visas. And that's just the way it is. And I always say, what's on the other side of the visa that I'm supposed to see and I'm supposed to experience? Because I've seen over the years where a lot of times they try to discourage people from going to different places because there's a lot to see there. So I'll put that there in a second. I'll come back and share a little bit more momentarily. Here's another thing I want you to be mindful of. All right, so you go through this, you get your visa, you're ready to go, you get your passport, you're getting on the plane. Here you are. You arrive in the country that you're going to. Dealing with customs and immigration can be a very interesting experience depending on where you're going. I know that when I went to Egypt, I had my I do videos and I do video content, and I have multiple audio sources and all of that. So I had my recorder with me, and so they were looking at my recorder kind of weird, and just kind of like, okay, what's this? And I was like, well, it's a recorder. I'm a vlogger. This is what I do. Now I was able to get through without any issue, but the fact that they were looking at it was kind of strange. When I was in Ethiopia, they actually held it overnight. That same little recorder, they held it overnight, and I had some pretty passionate words to share with the folks in customs there in Ethiopia. But that's something that you'll get that even coming into America. I had a situation in America where the lady, I think she was, I don't know what her problem was, but coming back from Africa, and I think it was coming back from Cote d'Ivoire or something like that. No, it's coming back from Zanzibar last year. She just decided that she wanted to just go through everything. You take you back in a little holding room, and you're sitting there. You feel like a criminal. You don't even know what you just feel like a criminal, and you're sitting there like, okay. And so she went through everything. Obviously, didn't find anything, but just you go, just kind of prepare your mind that they may search your bags. That's just kind of how it is. So if you don't have anything in there, then you're good. One time I came back in to the States, and same thing happened. And so the guy, they were going through searching the bags. But what I learned from that first experience was to be prepared. So when he went through and he said, well, what do you do? I said, I'm an author. You got to find one thing. You might have 100 things that you do, but you find one thing that you do that you can say quickly, because if you hesitate too much, now they're looking at you sideways. So I have my bag, and it has all of my Darren and Destiny stuff in it. So I said, well, I'm a children's book author, and I'm going to Africa. This is part of what I do to get the information from my books. And so he was kind of like, oh, okay. And it threw him off because he wasn't expecting that. So, and I told him, I said, yeah, pull my name up. You can search my name and pull me up on. He pulled up my website, and what happened, I told him to do that. And he was like, cool. He went through my stuff. He said, cool, you're good to go. I said, no, but what I want to do, I'm going to bring you back some books once I go get my other bags. And normally when you get done with customs, you just want to get out of there because you just feel like you just been, I don't know. And this is coming into the U.S., okay? This is not the foreign countries, quote unquote. This is coming into the U.S. So what I did was I went and I went back in to take him the books. And what I discovered is that he actually went to my website and pulled up the website. And I could tell, so he got the books. He's like, no, cool. Thank you very much. And when children are waiting, we'll make sure they can read these books and blah, 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 blah. So my point is to just be prepared for possible searches. When I went to Kenya, the lady, searched my bag and everything. And then she was like, oh, she saw the book. She was like, oh, okay, cool. So maybe you have something in there that's a conversation piece. I don't know. But don't let that discourage you, because again, that's just a part of the journey. That's a part of it, part of the experience. And I always say, what's on the other side of that experience that's priceless, that customs and immigration, that's just a part of it. Now, the other thing, when you go to Ghana, just to let you know, Just to let you know. They might try to pimp you for a few dollars or whatever. They see you and say, hey, can you give me a little extra such and such and such and such. So I've had some words with the folks in Ghana at the immigration and all of that. So you just kind of learn. You get with the flow. You do what you got to do. So again, Egypt, they searched the bag, went through no problem. Ghana, they want a few extra CDs or whatever. Don't do it. Don't give it to them. And then no issues in Tanzania. No, Tanzania searched the bags too. Tanzania, now that I'm going back, Tanzania searched the bags. And so you just want to be mindful when you're packing. Just got to be thinking, okay, this is the deal. But guess what? Once you get done with it, it's a great experience. You go on with your trip and you have a great time. This is a part of what we do at Maximum Impact Travel. We prepare you for all of it. Before you go on a trip with us, we have our culture training. We walk you through all of these steps. And then by you being prepared, when you get there, you're like, okay, I know what to expect. Here, you don't have to get all into your feelings because y'all know how it goes. We get somewhere and we're like, y'all, they don't do this in America. They don't do this in America and all of that. And they do it in America. That's the thing. Come back in. And so I've had it on all sides and I realized that's just a part of the process. They're searching for whatever they're searching for. As long as you don't have it, then you'll be good to go. So that's the deal when it comes to the passport and visa process. What the next thing I'm going to talk about is the travel insurance component and why travel insurance is essential. Travel insurance with medical is essential. There are so many people who travel internationally without adequate travel insurance. And when they do that, they find themselves in situations that are very unfortunate. And I recall the time where there was a news report about a lady who went to, I forget which country she went to, but she got in a car accident. And her medical team back in the United States said, well, no, don't let them operate on you there. Medevac yourself back. We want to bring you back to the States so that we can do the surgery that needs to be done here. Well, that flight cost her $160,000. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Kaiser, none of them were going to cover that international expense. That's why international travel insurance is essential. If all she spent, I think it might have cost her extra $100 or something like that. And she would have had enough coverage for emergency medical evacuation that would have paid for her flight back to the States. That's another thing that we cover in our Travel Academy. That's something that is very important. And you can actually go to bit.ly, Africa Travel Academy, and pull up that section that talks about travel insurance. But I'm going to add another component tomorrow when we talk about the travel insurance. And what I do, I have an annual plan. I use annual travel insurance, which covers all of my trips. It costs me $500 a year. I'm someone who travels extensively, so that's wise to have. But you don't have to spend that much if you're going on one trip. You can get a decent policy, especially if you plan early enough for some as low as $40, $50, depending on where you're going. Some as high as a couple $100. But I'm sure she would have taken a couple $100 on some travel insurance versus a $160,000 medical bill that she had to raise money for. There's another couple that got stuck down in Mexico. And this is where a lot of people, they'll run to the Caribbean, they'll run to Mexico, and they'll think that, hey, it's no big deal. And they get in these hospitals and they have these situations and they think, oh, okay, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to give you my card. And that's not how it works in these countries, because they know once you leave the country, there's no way, they have no recourse. So they hold people basically hostage in their hospitals. And that's what happened with this couple. They were held hostage in the hospital in Mexico, and the bill was like $14,000. They didn't have $14,000. They didn't have travel insurance with medical. And so Tyler Perry heard about it, and Tyler Perry paid the bill. But what if they didn't know Tyler Perry? And then they're still stuck in that hospital having to pay that bill because they don't have the resources. So this is why it's important to have these conversations, prepare people to travel, and people travel all over the world every day. It is nothing to fear. It's nothing to be like, oh no, I'm just gonna stay home because I'm just gonna stay home. That's not what this is about. What this is saying, this is how you navigate this territory so you can see the world and expand your mind and have life-changing experiences, memories that will last a lifetime and you can pass on for generations, pictures and souvenirs that you can treasure and pass along. So that's what the vision and the goal is here with Maximum Impact Travel. And I just want to give that little piece to you tonight, and hopefully that will be beneficial to you. Please be sure to click the like button, subscribe button, share button. Let people know that they can get this information. It's absolutely free. It's going to help somebody when they're traveling. And then if you want more information, then you can sign up for our free Africa Travel Academy at bit.ly, Africa Travel Academy, and it'll walk you through more details. And we're constantly adding more and more content to it because things are forever changing. So stay tuned for the next episode as we talk about, or I should say the next session as we talk about the travel insurance and why it's so important. All right, let's see if we got any questions here. Let's see. All right. Hey, what's going on, Gerard? All right. Yes, getting that Ghana visa was a job, wasn't it? It was a job. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Got multiple visa. Good. Yep, good. All right, cool. Good. That's right. Lovely Africa, you got it right. Good. Yeah, it sounds like things that make you go, taking it back, right? Taking it back. Let's see. Okay, and just check that traveler's insurance to make sure that you know all of what it covers, because sometimes it'll cover your flight, but will it cover your trip? Will it cover, if you have an accident somewhere abroad or if you get sick? And so that's the deal. Hey, what's going on, Power Network? Yeah, we're working on Kenya. We're going to probably end up doing Kenya, Rwanda. Or we talked about Kenya, Zanzibar too. So we're still navigating these times. So because what you get in Kenya, I mean, you get the Masai Mara, you get the Nairobi National Park, you get Nairobi, you get Mombasa. There's quite a few things that you can get in Kenya that you don't get in Tanzania. But then the things you get in Tanzania that you don't get in Kenya. And of course, you can always go to Zanzibar, and we even thought about Kenya, Seychelles. Seychelles is price point is different. It's a little bit higher. So, yeah, Zanzibar is something special. Yeah, Zanzibar is definitely something special. I'll say this. This is what I tell everybody. I'm not going to take folks somewhere if it's not special. If it doesn't touch me, then I can't finesse it. I got to be able to believe in it. Zanzibar is definitely something special. I've been there twice. Didn't want to leave. And I was there around this time last year, didn't want to leave. First time I was there, didn't want to leave. Can't wait to get back because there's something very, very special on Zanzibar, those islands. Yeah, it's something special about Zanzibar. That's all I can say about it. Let's see. Hey, what's going on, Gerard? When it comes to the COVID. Okay, so when it comes to the COVID procedures, and tonight I just focused on the passport and visa, but I'll definitely answer your question, no problem at all. When it comes to, as of right now, as of today, December 24th, 2021, Egypt and Tanzania do not require you to have a COVID vaccine, but you still have to do the 72 hours beforehand negative PCR. I did not have to be tested when I was there. I was just in Egypt a few weeks ago. There was no test upon arrival. Egypt is very tourism friendly. That is their moneymaker. They don't want to do anything to shake that up because COVID really hit them hard. They were shut down as far as people coming in. So that's the deal when it comes to Egypt. Tanzania, they kind of floated through this a little bit differently than everyone else because their president was the president that recently passed away was resistant to a lot of things, and so Tanzania kind of coasted through COVID a little bit differently than everyone else. I know that now you have to have the not the vaccine, but the negative PCR test. And obviously, coming back into the states, you have to have that negative PCR test. You know, it might be antigen coming back into the states, but going into these countries, you have to have the PCR test. I have not been to Dar es Salaam. Have not been to Dar es Salaam. I did a layover in Dar es Salaam, but I've not spent time in Dar es Salaam. What I've been informed about Dar es Salaam because I was going to go to Dar es Salaam, but I was like, okay, what's there to do in Dar es Salaam? And everyone who knew, they were like, well, there's not really much to do in Dar es Salaam. It's a big city, a lot of traffic, but it's not a whole lot of things to do that if you were to take a group to do in Dar es Salaam. But I still like when I go back over to Tanzania, I'm going to go to Dar es Salaam and see if that's actually the case. There's still be a couple things there, but what I know, when you have a group of people, you kind of have to have things kind of set a particular way to create an experience. And so if I see where the experience is going to be compromised, then I won't venture into that territory. Yep. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? And I'm going to be talking about this pretty much every day for the next several weeks, because I'm really looking to encourage people. I know when it comes to Ghana, somebody asked about the COVID deal. Ghana now requires you to have the COVID-19 vaccine in order to enter. That's right now. They said it's for the festive season, and so we'll see if that changes come January. I know that Kenya just implemented something like a couple days ago where you have to have the vaccine to come in or leave. So that's Kenya just did that. I tell everybody that the one that you want to watch, the country that will tell you where the whole continent is going to go. Let me see if you all can guess the country that if it's how when they do the election night, they say if this state goes this way or that way. There's one country in Africa that if it makes the COVID-19 vaccine mandatory, the rest of the continent is likely to go that way. Anybody know what country that is? Anybody put it? You can type it in there real quick. You can, if you think you know which country. If that country makes it mandatory, you can pretty much rest assured that it's going to go throughout the whole continent. I'll give you a second to do that. But let's see. Here's another question. Somebody got it. Yep, South Africa. That's right. That's right. If South Africa goes, then you know, and because South Africa pretty much has been resistant to a lot of the different things. And South Africa is really easy to travel to, and I love South Africa. I love South Africa. It is I love South Africa because of the people, and that made that whole trip special. It really did. And so we're working with my folks. I got some folks down in South Africa that we're trying to put something together. I want to put together a nice trip and take some folks down there. So that's something that we have in the works too. But this year, Egypt, Tanzania, Ghana. Ghana's always going to be on the list. There are a lot of people right now. Afrochella is all the way live in Ghana right now. So it has not. Some people were bothered by it, but it didn't shut everything down. They're still doing what they're doing, and so we'll see what the fallout is, afterwards. Right. Yep, that's right. That is the case when it comes to. Hey Jacob, what's going on? No, I do not consult with people looking to repatriate to East Africa, and the reason why is because I am not really well versed on that process of going to East Africa. As far as repatriating to East Africa, I can get you there. But as far as repatriating, that's a little bit more challenging, and each country is different. And what I would encourage you to do is to go to the embassy website of the country that you're interested in. There's a lot going on in East Africa. I love Nairobi. Nairobi is a very easy place to transition to. It is really very easy. I felt like I was in the ATL. It was really very easy. Really, really, really very easy. But Kenya, I love Kenya too. I can't think of a country that I didn't love. And I can't think of a country that I could not live in. So, but what I would say is go to the embassy website. And then when you go to the embassy website, what you can do is find out what the process is to get residency. That's normally the first step. You get your residency, and then you kind of go from there. I always encourage people to visit before you move. And that's one of the things, because I don't know which, let me say this. East Africa amenities, those of us coming from the West, East Africa's amenities are more familiar than, say, West Africa's. And that's just because you have a lot of Western tourism coming into East Africa. Like I showed the video clip a couple nights ago, how I was the only brown person in the airport at Zanzibar as a traveler. So you have a lot of that money coming into East Africa, really based on proximity. If you look at how easy it is to get from Europe to East Africa, and then you have the Indian Ocean with those beaches, and it's just like paradise over there. So that's what I would recommend. Let's see. That's right. Yep. You got it. Here's some good questions coming in. Let's see. Yeah, South Africa, Nigeria, and Nigeria too. Nigeria got some trade. I went through that port in Nigeria on the boat, and I was like, whoa. Yeah, but definitely South Africa. South Africa and Nigeria are both the dominant economic powerhouses on the continent of Africa, as far as when you start talking about trade and getting into that, for sure. And I enjoyed both of those countries. Yes, Kenya would be a very easy. Nairobi in particular would be very easy. I was a couple rooftops, and I mean it was really, really, really nice. Joburg was nice too. I mean, everywhere I'm thinking about, everywhere. All right, let's see. Someone recommending how far in advance can you get your visa and still? Oh, you can get your visa at any point in time. Just if you get that multiple entry, just make sure it doesn't expire. So, I think Egypt though, you got to watch that Egypt one and make sure, because that might be like a 90-day. So that's what you want to kind of keep your eye on with Egypt. But like Ghana, like once you get that one for Ghana, the 5-year one, that's almost like a passport to get into Ghana. And I'm a dual citizen of Sierra Leone. And so I'm able to go to different ECOWAS countries, using the Sierra. Like when I went to Nigeria, I used my Sierra Leone passport, which was really cool. And I was able to kind of navigate it like that. What's my take on African Americans relocating to Egypt? I mean, it's fine. I mean, if that's your vibe, it's fine. Cairo is a huge city. Cairo is unlike any place I've ever been. I thought Lagos had the business going on, but Cairo had some other stuff happening. I thought Lagos traffic was something that I went to Cairo. It just really depends on what you're into. It's I didn't have any problems there as a African American in Cairo at all. I mean, they have Ritz-Carlton there, they have Movenpick, they have all of the hotels, Four Seasons. It's tourism. Cairo is a very Western city. So when you get there, you feel that Western kind of vibe. You have the Nile River running through there. It's tourist, but it's a very dusty city. Cairo is dusty, and because you're in a desert, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. But no problem as far as no problem as far as being there. I enjoyed the people of Cairo. Cairo itself might not be my favorite city from the standpoint of it's just so massive and just so much going on. But some of the best food I ever had in my life in Cairo. Some of the nicest people I ever met in Cairo. So it's but now when you start going down to Luxor and Aswan, those places like Aswan, I could stay in Aswan. That was really, really nice. And you cruise down the Nile River. Egypt is a very different kind of trip. And it's a trip that I believe people should go on because it walks you through the chronology of history in a way that if you have the right tour guide, you will see it. You will see the change. Oftentimes when we hear history, we don't see the change. We just kind of show up and we're there. But when you're someplace like, when you're in Egypt and you're going down the River Nile, and then you begin to learn about, okay, who was here at this point? And then how did this change? And what happened here? And then you go to some of the temples and you can see the ancient Egyptians, and then you can see where the Greco-Roman, where you can see that change come in, and you can see it's very fascinating. It's a really fascinating trip. It's something I'll never forget. I mean, and each one is different. Ghana is very different from Egypt, which is very different from Joburg, which is very different from Tanzania. That's why all of these experiences are so important. Let's see here. Hey, what's going on, Diane? Let's see. Am I doing a multiple country tour? If so, eventually I will. We got to get through this window. This window right now is what this window, like what I would want to do. I'll tell you what I would want to do. I would want to do a Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria. Like if somebody had like time and they wanted to really do that, that's what I would do. But then I would also want to do like a Mali, Burkina, like a West African tour, or you do a Cameroon, Nigeria, Gabon, Angola. I could see those kind of blending together. But then when it comes to the east, then obviously Tanzania, Uganda, so you start to look, then you see Rwanda, you have Burundi in there. Ethiopia is a must. I would do Egypt, Ethiopia. I know they're not like don't particularly care country-wise, don't particularly care for each other. But if you can go from Egypt to Sudan to Ethiopia, and you can get that piece of the puzzle, it tells a whole different story. See, what makes the East so interesting, East Africa, what makes East Africa so interesting is the fact that you see all of the players. Everybody is represented in East Africa in a way that is very, and they're in West Africa too, but you see where you see the Portuguese, you see the Arabs, you see the Romans, you see the French, you see the British, you see everybody's footprint in East and North Africa, more so than you see in West Africa. Not that, and it just kind of puts a historical perspective on it that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know about the Arab perspective on the history and how it influences even the modern world today. A lot of people don't know that. So that's what makes East Africa. So I would do that. When it comes to the South, obviously Botswana, South Africa, Zimbabwe. I mean, it's Namibia. It's a whole cluster right there in the South that's fascinating. And then we cannot forget about Angola and Congo and DRC, not DRC, but Central African Republic. Sometimes we think about these places, from the negative side, but then there's some other value there. A lot of people come out of Cameroon. A lot of people who are part of the African diaspora, a lot of Tikar coming out of Cameroon and in that whole region, and that's right there next to, and see, I got Cameroon. I have Mafa Cameroon roots, but that's right next to Nigeria. Nigeria is, and we're working on Nigeria. Nigeria is probably the country everyone who's a part of the African diaspora should visit, but you got to go with the right, somebody has to curate that tour the right way because it's just so many people, so much going on, and you got to know where to go. But I truly enjoyed Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I mean, I felt at home. I really felt at home in Nigeria. Let's see. Absolutely Senegal and the Gambia. Absolutely. I was trying to sneak over to Senegal before the end of the year. I was trying to get over there. I was like, all right, how can I do this? Then the fam was looking at me like, now look. And so I was trying to slide over to Senegal, and I was trying to. I was looking at the flights, and flights were looking real crazy too. So that was a good deterrent. Definitely Senegal and the Gambia. Yes, here's another question somebody had. On these trips, can you venture out on your own or you can find? Nah, you can do whatever you want to do. I would not recommend certain countries. I would not recommend venturing out on your own if you're not familiar. You would be okay in Ghana. I know folks are giving Ghana the blues right now, but Ghana, you would be fine in Ghana. You would be fine in Kenya. You would be fine in Tanzania, Zanzibar. I would not recommend doing that in Nigeria just because it's so many people, and if you don't really know, it's just a lot going on. Just from that perspective, the where else have I been that I didn't spend enough time in Egypt to really. I mean, I don't think you'd have any problems in Egypt, depending on where you are. Obviously, parts of Cairo you might not want to venture out into, but no one's forced to do anything. But from wisdom's sake, I would say just be kind of mindful of that when you talk about going out to different countries and not knowing the lay of the land. All right, let's see. Say yes to your dreams. Let's see. Do I offer recommendations for the best air carriers in the best arrival cities, countries visited? Well, I'm kind of partial to Delta going into Ghana, Ethiopian going over to the east. That's because you know I'm going to fly into Addis Ababa. Now I'm in the DC area, so I fly out of DCA or IAD or Dulles. So had great Emirates. I'll take Emirates. I've done Brussels. Those are the four that I can think of. When I left Ghana, I went to Egypt. From Ghana, I went on Egypt Air, and then from there I went on Qatar into Kenya. I don't know if South African Airways is back up and running yet, but I know that I flew them several times. And sometimes you just kind of got to look at it and gauge it and see which, where you get the best deal from. And these flights, now one thing I think I talk about, these flights can be long. And I've done business class. I've done coach. I intentionally have flown coach because I want to know what the experience is like. It's going to be for the average person, coming on one of these tours. So I want to know what it's like to sit in coach for, say, 9-10 hours. And so I recommend getting an aisle seat. If you can get one, get an aisle seat. Some people like the window seat, but let's look at it like this. You get the window seat, and after about 9 hours, you're gonna have to go to the potty. It's about 7 in, if not before then. If you are very hydrated, you can be getting about 3-4 hours in. You can be able to say, hey, I got to get up and go. So you got to think about if you got to tap somebody and say, hey, excuse me, every time you go. So I like to do the aisle seat. And I haven't had any problems. I get my little thing around my neck and I'm good to go. When I did the business class, which was so sweet, you lay down and you lay all the way out and you're gone. I think I slept like the whole flight one time. But the longer flights are East Africa. So you're going to fly 13 to Addis. Some people have done, one time flying to Ghana, I flew into Dubai, had the 24-hour layover, and then flew back into Accra. So that was 13, 14 over to Dubai, then another 7, 8, maybe a little bit more coming back into Accra. So it just depends. It depends on your travel stamina and what you're into. Everybody's not into the same thing. I can promise you that. Everybody's not into it. But let's see. Yeah, not. Someone asked, is Nigeria safe right now? I mean, Nigeria is Nigeria. Nigeria is a big country with 200 and some odd million people. So it's depending on where you go. It's like America. So, you know what I'm saying? Think about America. You go to certain parts of America, it's not the best. You don't want to go to that area. But if you're but there are other parts of America, you'll be just fine. And that's the way it is in Nigeria. It just depends on where you are and making sure that people think that through. That's something you gotta really think through. Went to Fella's museum, which was really fascinating to learn about Fella and learn, and then went to the other place. I forget what they call it, but it's like where they have the music. And then went to the Afro-Brazilian Museum and learned about the Afro-Brazilian community in Nigeria. Went to Badagry. Went to a lot of places in Nigeria. I'm telling you, it's quite the lesson. Your DNA is Cameroon. Do you know which ethnic group in Cameroon you come from? I'm Mafa, Cameroon. Let's see. Okay, cool. I'm looking. Well, it depends on where you go in Cameroon too. I think that's a part of it too. It's I think that's, and then obviously we would not go to the northern region of Ethiopia right now. I love Ethiopia. I mean, Ethiopia was a place where when I think about the impact that it had, Ethiopia was one of those places. Like, it's an ancient place. When you go to Gondor and you learn about the Ge'ez language, and you go into some of those ancient castles, that's like, I mean, it's just to be in that space to see, in the big pool where they have this big festival and they jump into the pool every year. I don't think they're doing it right now because of some of the fighting that's going on. The one place I have not been in Ethiopia that I can't wait to get to is the Danakil area, the Danakil Depression with the sulfur pit. I can't wait to get there and go back to Lalibela and spend some more time in Addis. I was in Addis a couple weeks ago, but it was just like a layover, so I didn't really get a chance to spend any time there. But it wasn't locked down like what they try to portray in the news. Everybody was going about their business and living their life, so it was chill. Oh, okay. Tikar House of Fulani. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did African ancestry. African ancestry is what I did, and that's how I was able to. I'm about to do two more African ancestry. I got two cousins that are willing to do it, and they can. I have Sierra Leone, Timine. That's how I got my dual citizenship in Sierra Leone. My aunt, who was my father's sister, she did the maternal line, and that came up Mafa in Cameroon. So I have two male cousins who can trace two lines on my maternal great grandfather. One of his descendants is going to do it, and then my maternal grandfather's brother, we're going to find that line. So we're working this out. So I think we might be African ancestry, one of their top customers with all these tests that we got going on. Let's see here. Another question. Well. Let me say this, Johnny. Let me say this, and I think that there's a I don't want to say a balance, but I think that what ends up happening is that there are things on the ground that you see that can, like when I was in the last time I was at the airport and immigration in Ghana, and now I learned how I know the system, so when you know the system, now I know how to navigate it, so I don't take it personally because I understand, a lot of these people are probably paid nothing. Once you understand how little people are paid, then you understand why they try to shake you down. When I was in Nigeria, they were hitting me up. I was leaving out the airport. They were hitting me at every turn. Hey, hey. I said, okay, you know what? I get it. They're not being paid anything, and they figure I have some money. And so I recognize the cultural thing, and I understand the root cause of it and what's happening. So that part I don't take personally. I did see one video about the quarantine situation, which was not good. That quarantine situation was not good. But again, everybody has their perspective on it. What I try to do is I try not to discourage people because I understand that's part of the play. The play is to discourage. The play is to. It's almost like. It's like I hate to say it like this, but it's like America's a plantation. And so America makes so much money off of black people still to this day. They make so much money, trillions and trillions of dollars off of our labor, off of our skill, off of our just who we are, off of our talent. And so when we start learning and discovering things that go beyond the governmental systems in these countries, which are largely controlled still by America. So it's like America can turn a switch and spook everybody. And now, we go up. And so what I do is I say, okay, what's happening here? All right. I know who the real player is behind the scenes. America has the largest embassy in Ghana. America has a highway called George W. Bush Highway in Ghana. I know who the player is, but I also know what's in Ghana that we need. And so when I go back to thinking about how in life, what people have done, always discourage us from going to West Africa. Oh, they got the witchcraft over there. They got the voodoo over there. Those people don't like us over there. So at every turn, when we're about to discover something, someone comes along and says, don't go, go somewhere else. And so we get diverted instead of saying, what's in them dungeons you don't want me to see? What's in that culture? What's in that jollof rice you don't want me to taste? What's in those people that you don't want me to connect to where I'm able to, so what I do, that's why I haven't gone, because I could have done some videos on some things I've seen on the ground in Ghana. I could have done some videos on some things, but I said, well, no, I'm not going to do that right now, because I know the culture I come from in America is that all we need is one thing to set us off, and then we'll go run back to Massa. We'll say, well, I'm just going to stay here with Massa, and instead of saying, you know what, I got to have a little bit of courage about me. You know what, I need to go find out. I need to go figure some things out. And so those are the people I try to go after. The people who say, nah, you've been playing, this country and this system has been playing games with my mind my whole life. And so now I'm willing to risk and go see for myself. And if I'm supposed to have courage, if I'm supposed to not have this, to be fearful, I'm going to go see. And so that's just the angle I choose to take. Everyone has their perspective, and I think that's just the way it is. And that's just, but I also now, I won't be disingenuous. If I see something that's off, that's like I say, we go to those airports, just be prepared. What I do with my folks, I prepare them. I tell them, I say, look, they're going to hit you like this. Y'all got to tap into that street thing. Y'all know how we roll. Let's do this thing. I got to swear. I got to go into coach mode. Say, hey, look, you're not trying to spend that money, right? Okay, don't spend it. How much you trying to spend? Okay, cool. Now keep in mind, they still got to make a living. But if, just know they're going to charge you 3, 4, 5 times. Don't take it personal. They're trying to live, trying to survive. They're trying to do like us. So you figure out how much you want to spend, and boom, that's how you do it. And that way, we don't have any people fighting and arguing. We just have a really good time because we understand it. And so that's what I try to do across the board. But again, what people experience, I don't discount what someone goes through. I don't discount their experience, but I also recognize the broader thing. It's bigger than what we realize. That's the part. Once I understood that World Bank and IMF and how those players come in and put these countries in debt and they can take a port if they want to. If China wants to take a port and they loan the money, a lot of these countries are being exploited. So if we stay away, then cry foul, it's almost like we go back to the very systems that are oppressing on both sides. So I just try to get in and establish the relationships and figure out how we can work this thing out. I didn't know I was going to go into all of that, but that's just kind of that's how I flow with it. That's why now, if something is just out of control, I have no problem talking about the stuff going on at Lake Volta. I have no problem talking about the stuff going on in Libya, and meaning the child slavery. I have no problem talking about what's happening in Libya and the West Africans who are going into Libya and they're taking them. They're trying to, they're basically holding slave camps there. I have no problem talking about the Arab countries that will exploit West African women, Ethiopian women, and Filipino women and take their passports. So that's what I'm saying. But again, if we don't go, then everything stays the same. But if we go, then we establish the relationships and we can figure some solutions out. Let's see. Let's see. This is a great question. But I'm glad you asked, Johnny. Definitely glad. Do I think this renewed love to connect with the motherland is going to be self-sustaining, a fad, or will it just keep growing? That's y'all got some good questions. That's a really good question. I don't know. I think that the more people that talk about it, the more people that go, I think that's why it's important for us to go. The more of us that go and see and can process it through objective eyes will then bring that back and then others will want to go. I think as long as we have that happening, and then understanding how this thing, they're always going to send a spook virus out of Africa. It's always going to be something. They've been doing it forever. And guess what? They keep going. When we get spooked, they keep going. I'm saying, oh, they're still here. I said, well, as long as they're here, I'm here too. So I don't know. I think the more we're educated, that's why I did the children's books, because I want our children to have a different perspective than what I had growing up. So we have other people doing children's books and animations and all these other kind of things going on. The more we do it, the more we share it, the more people know about it. It doesn't become a fad. It becomes a culture. It becomes a part of the culture. And then if we can be honest with ourselves and say, okay, everybody doesn't come from Ghana. Everybody doesn't come from Kenya or Egypt. But there are things that are relevant to those places for those who do descend. Like some people who come from Cameroon, they might not come from Ghana, but the same story. It's the same players. It's the same. You see the Germans, the French, and the British in Cameroon, and you see that same type of system in place. So when you go to one place, you're able to say, let me put this piece of the puzzle together. You see the Portuguese were everywhere. So it's like you begin to put a context to it, and it helps to make sense what's going on in America. They have masterfully detached us from that part of the world because the answers are there. So what they've done intentionally is to create this tribe, if you will, I just use that term very loosely. You create this group of people in America and disconnect their identities, because it's not just one identity. I mean, many of us are a melting pot of all of the different ethnic groups. We Tikar, Yoruba, Wolof. You can find all types of ethnicities in our DNA. So when you take that group of people and you separate them, strip them down of any understanding of that, the only thing we have, meaning from a cultural standpoint, and many of us have lost our coastal roots from the Gullah Geechee and from the indigenous, and even from the indigenous, we've even lost a lot of that. But when you begin to look at it, you say to yourself, we're the ones doing the DNA test. They're not doing the DNA test like that down in Brazil, because they know the Afro-Brazilians know Angola, Nigeria. Many of them went back because they understand that part. You go to Salvador and Brazil, and you'll see the Yoruba. You'll see where they hold true to that. But when you come to America, our identity is like we've adopted. It's like it's a morph of all kinds of things, and many of us are trying to figure it out. Some of us are perfectly content with being brown bodies with white minds, believing that we're superior while we're still crying racism. But there are others of us who recognize that there's a piece of the story that's missing, and we understand that our history has been taught by people who either don't know or who had curriculums that were in place that were intentional about making sure we didn't connect and we didn't know. So as far as a fad is concerned, I think with this next generation, if we keep it in front of them, and we, when you go over there and you just look at the hair texture, you know who you connected to. You can look and say, oh, okay, I know who. All right. The ladies on the trips, this is one of the comments, the fellas didn't say a word. The fellas knew not to say a word. But the ladies said this. This is what the ladies on the trip came back with. They said, the lady said, I see where we get all these hips and big behinds from, so they do. They do. They looked and they saw it. The fellas were just like, to stay quiet with it. But they understood that this was, although our cultures are different, genetically, we can see ourselves in each other, especially in Nigeria. You go to Nigeria, you will think you down in give me a city, down in Charlotte somewhere. You'll say, wait a minute, y'all, we all look alike. And what's happening here? Okay, let's see. Keep going. The corruption at the airports has to go. Yeah. They'll mess with the American passport too. They'll mess with you. They'll mess with you. They'll come at you and say, let me get that money. That's how, but if you talk, I talk trash to them. I go in, now that I know how it is, I tell them no. I said, I'm not doing that. Nope, nope. I said no, I'm not doing that. I am not doing it. And at that point, I think one time I just walked out. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So it it now you got to know how to navigate that. I don't recommend that for everybody. You got to know how to negotiate and leverage and talk. So it's but it that the one yeah, like in Nigeria, the dude he saw my American passport and he was like, yeah. He said something in whatever language to one of the guys, and I was ready because like when I went to Nigeria, I was in straight DC hood mode at different times. I was like, oh, okay, this is all right. Because I was, they tell you they're gonna scam you in Nigeria. So at different points, I said, all right, I gotta tap into my inner Nigerian too, because I got a lot of Nigerian DNA. So, or DNA from that region. So the dude was like, well, yeah. He looked at me all hard, like he was in DC. They call it gritting on you. Like he was gritting on me. I grit back at him. I was like, well, what's up? Yeah, come back and see me once you're done. I looked at him. I just walked off. I was like, what are you gonna do? So you just gotta know you just gotta know your culture. And sometimes you gotta be very forceful, and sometimes you gotta be like in Nigeria. I was like, it was DC 1980s. It was kind of, but it wasn't like that. It was like I knew when I needed to tap into DC 1980s, and then you walk a particular way. And the other thing I do is I have selective hearing. So I might hear a boss, a boss, a boss. I already know the culture, so I ignore them. I just keep walking. So at that point, they're going to have to cross a barrier and touch me if it's that deep. And then in my stature, I have a stature. So if I'm walking a particular way, and I turn that on, then it's like, okay, I don't know if I need to bother him. And this is, again, part of the coaching. Y'all getting like the coaching and everything on this one tonight. But that's kind of like how I roll with it. And I mean, you'll know when to give up a few coins. You'll know when to do it. You'll say, okay, all right. You'll know. One time I was in Ghana, and I was in an Uber in Ghana, minding my business. And they got these little shakedowns in Ghana where the cops stop you every seemed like every quarter mile. So I was almost at my Airbnb. I'm in the backseat of the Uber. So we're doing a little shakedown thing. And I'm accused of looking like I'm from Nigeria. That's what they say. They say I look like I'm Igbo from Nigeria. So the cop comes around and he says, get out the car and such and such. So I'm analyzing the situation. So I'm tapping into my street sense. Now, this is where you got to leave America in America, because if now you get all up in the thing and I'm American, I see my passport and I'm going to report you and all that. Once you get once you go down that road, you didn't do your culture training properly. You didn't go with maximum impact. You didn't do that right. You should have come to us. So I said, okay. So I'm watching. So he's like, so I had my pouch on and everything, and he's going through it. And I'm looking, I'm saying, well, now, right now, he can say anything he wants to say. So let me just chill. Let me just watch this whole process play out. In America, they just can't roll up on you like that. And just, well, I guess they could just stop and frisk I guess that's what they call it. So, so I said, okay, let me just, street sense kicks in, so let me just stay calm. So he goes through all my stuff. I know I'm not walking around with anything. I'm waiting for him to go and see how much money I have on me. I got a combination of CDs and dollars and all of that. And so I have my blue passport and my green passport. So I got both of them with me. And so he's going through all of that. I'm calm, watching. I'm saying, okay, this is how this goes. So his buddy comes over, who I guess is a little bit older, and he looks. And when he saw my blue passport and he saw my green passport, he looked at him like, stop, leave this alone right now. And so when all that was done, he said, no. He said, listen, put everything back in. I want to make sure you put everything in, because I don't want you to go and report this and tell and put this out there and all of that. And so when and they didn't ask me for any money. There was no money or anything. I put my stuff back in, went on about my business. That was not something I enjoyed. I did not like that. But I did not indict the whole country or the people for that one incident. And I've talked about it before. And so I recognize this is that one incident. And so how did I handle that incident? I could have gone and got all upset and gone. So it's like you just kind of got to know, okay, this is where I am. This is what's going on. It happened one time on my first trip. They were doing the little thing going on the way to Kumasi, and they open the trunk and they look in and all that. And they, once you've been trained, then you're not taken aback by it. You're just kind of like, okay, this is how it is. All right, let me just stay focused and go on about my business. Is it something that I like? No, it's not at all. I don't like it at all. But that's the only time that has happened in Ghana. I didn't deal with that in any other. I'm trying to think. Have I dealt with that in any other country? No. No. Nigeria, everybody in Ghana was warning me about the cops in Nigeria, but they were actually very nice in Nigeria. so that was interesting. Now I'll tell you what, when I was in Joburg, it was a little interesting because they had a lot of security. That was a little interesting. But that was about it. Nothing in Sierra Leone, nothing in Kenya, nothing in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a different kind of vibe. I'll talk about that one day. Nothing in Egypt. No. So yeah. That's why you just got to go see for yourself. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'll tell you the story, but I mean, it doesn't stop me from going to Ghana. I mean, it took almost 100 people to Ghana last year. I'm not going to stop going to Ghana. I love Ghana. I love the people. I love everything. Every place I've been in Ghana. Tamale, love tamale. Tamale is very different, but loved it. So it's like if I've had enough bad experiences with cops, black and white in America, to where one experience with a cop in Ghana, I'm like, okay. I mean, I had brothers shake me down in America, brothers and sisters, out of nowhere because they on HNIC time. So, and had the white boys do it too. So it's like, I guess I've been around long enough to have both experiences. Let's see. I see you, Diane. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I just bought some more land in Ghana. I just got some more land. All the stuff jumping off, people going. I said, I right then and there, you know what? I buy the land when everybody runs the other way, because that's when I know I get the best deals. And I got me some land in Shy Hills. I got me some land in Dodowa. I still got the condos being built. It's like when everybody else gets spooked, I say, they get spooked, I spook. I say, hey, all right, y'all spook, because I'm like, hey, because I know how the larger system works. They spook, they move in, and so that's how they do it. That's how they clean out. That's what they do in America in different places. They'll run down someplace like southern Louisiana, all to now build it back up and put the levees in, make sure everything is perfect. But when everybody else leaves, that's what they're counting on. So they count on. I'm not saying that's what happened in Ghana. I'm just saying when I see this same kind of pattern happen, I just say, you know what? Let me go ahead and secure me a little space right here. I mean, I got this. I mean, a nice lot looking right at Shy Hills, right by the monkey sanctuary. I think that's what it is called. But I was like, yeah. I said, so, and one day I'm gonna break it down to everybody, because I'm working on a project in South Carolina right now. I got ancestors' blood in the ground in South Carolina. I got ancestors' blood on the continent of Africa. And so if I've been given the knowledge and insight and wisdom and resources to be able to navigate this, then I'm not going to go and disrespect what they died for, because I'm caught up in. I mean, it's racism in South Carolina, so I'm not gonna. All right, cool. You can call me whatever you want. But you know what? I got a birthright here. I was born in South Carolina. I have ancestors who left me things in South Carolina. So I'm going to leave this place better than how it was given to me for the next generation. And, as I learn more about Africa and all the different parts of Africa, then I'm going to do the same thing there and empower the people along the way through whether it be resources, financial resources, or educational resources, or understanding our culture, or empowering people who come from where I come from by taking them back over to see. That's how you bridge the gap. You take people and you give them experiences, educational experiences, but then also cultural experiences. All of that comes together. All of that works it's a synergy that works in a way when people say, wow, these history books told me this all of my life. These people told me this all of my life. But when I saw it with my own eyes, then they couldn't take that from me. And so when that happened, they couldn't take that from me, and nobody can take these experiences from me. It's nothing. They can't. Going to Benin and going to the Stilt village in Benin, they can't take that from me. From going into Togo and riding around and being in Lomé, they can't take that from me. Being in Abidjan, I was looking at pictures from Abidjan today. I was like thinking, how can I get to Abidjan? Those are experiences nobody can take away. And I want other people to have that experience. That's why you see me doing what I'm doing, because I want other people to have it, because I know how misinformed we are. And I see how as soon as something happens, I see how we switch just like that. We're gung-ho 1 minute, and then the minute something doesn't go right, we retreat. And I said, I just can't be the retreat person. I said, I cannot be that person that retreats at every obstacle that comes along the way. It can't be. If I got to deal with the people at the airport, I just got to deal with the hustlers at the airport. If I got to deal with this, if I got to deal with that, because guess what? The Chinese come in and they deal with it too. And they're unfazed by it. The Lebanese come in and build their dreams, unfazed by it. The Indians come in and build the biggest safari companies in East Africa, unfazed. You got people who come in and build developments and you name it, they build it, and they're not running from it. And I said, I don't want to be that person who legitimately has a genetic connection to this place, and then I'm going to run from just because. So, that's why I was traveling all this year. November last year, I started, and I was going, and I was been back and forth for a whole year. Spent the better part of 6 months. On and off throughout the whole year. And it was the best time and money investment that I could have done because of now the momentum that we have going into 2022 and some of the deals that we've signed going into 2022. And I want other people to experience that. It's not just for me. I'm at a point in my life where it's like, hey, you know what? Some people do things just to acquire for the sake of acquiring. I do things for the sake of experiencing and sharing those experiences with others. And that's what people sense when they come on these tours, because it's like, hey, I want you to experience that, taste that, see that, listen to that, see that. Touch that, all of that. That's what it's about. Yeah. Oh, Buford. Yeah, see, Buford. I know about Buford. I was born in the Chuck. And so Somerville is where a lot of my family is. My grandparents are actually buried in Buford at the military cemetery in Buford. So I know about Buford. I was there at the I have the video I'm going to release about the Nigerian camp in Buford, the community. I forget the name of it. I don't want to say the wrong name, but I was there. And so right there going, what is it, 17? Is it 17? Hey, what's going on, Marcella? Is it 17? Yeah. Y'all talking. Yeah. I'm not gonna walk into that too deep, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not, because I only know. I didn't realize that there were people. I only knew of one guy who was intentionally coming for Ghana, and it's because I realized I didn't know it. He has a vested interest in another country, and so the best way to sway people away from or sway people towards what you're doing is to diss the other country. And I don't know all the ins and outs of what happened, there. And I saw speculation. I don't even get into all of that. I just kind of peeped it. I was like, that's interesting that he's going that hard on Ghana from the standpoint of business, and how he was saying, Ghana's the bad here, this, that, and the other, and this place has some of the best, this, that, and that. And I'm thinking to myself, because I've been to both places, and 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 spent considerable time both places, and I'm like, well, that's deceptive, because if someone goes to this other place, they'll find nice beaches for sure. But they're also going to find other challenges that Accra does not have. And so why not just elevate, why put down this other country in an effort to try to elevate this other one? And then the people get there and realize that they've been hoodwinked. That's the reality, because even when I went to that particular country, and they're on the come up, and it's a beautiful country. But when you get there, they start trying to charge you prices like, I was like, well, I'd buy some land here, but y'all trying to charge me more than what I would pay back in the States. And I don't know if I got to get a hustle or something, I got to find out the chief going to try to come steal my land later and all of that. So I think that, and I talked about it in my video about people throwing shade. What typically happens in American culture is that when somebody is moving forward, because our game is weak, we don't know how to just keep staying. We have to try to tear down the other person or the other entity in order to build ourselves up, instead of just saying, you know what, my game is strong. You know what, your game is strong. We can do this. We can rock this together, man. You do your thing. Man, you got that going on over there. I mean, I've had people on my channel that do tours. So it's like, everybody's not going to come on my tours. They go, hey, you know what? My thing is, I just want you to go have the experience. Maybe you don't go on the tour with me here, but because I was mature and I was gracious, maybe I'm going to doing a tour somewhere else, and you might feel comfortable coming with me there. That's my thought about it. It's like, whatever is supposed to be for you is going to be for you, so you don't have to tear somebody down in the process. But I've seen that a lot in life, when it's been the street game. Even when I was doing club promotions, go back 30 years or so, and when I was doing a party and other guys had parties going on, well, first thing they try to do is tear down what I was doing to try to build themselves up. And that's because their game was weak. So you won't see me coming on any channel and saying I'm going to try to tear down somebody else's stuff in order to build my stuff up, because I believe that what I'm supposed to do, I'm strong enough in it to be able to push through it. If it costs me more money to get my message out there, then that's fine. I don't worry about that, because somebody else will see it and will sense it, and they will say, you know what, he doesn't have to go down the road of tearing down another brother or sister in order to build up what he's trying to do. And that's just so common. That's common. I see it on the continent. I see it in America. And I just don't want to fall into that. I don't want to be in that bunch. I shared the other night how there's this brother who I'd never met the brother before. I never even know he existed. I didn't know anything. I didn't know he existed. And people were telling me, hey, look, go check him out. He sounded like y'all got a good vibe. Y'all could probably, do an interview with each other. And I went to go look for him on my IG. And so I typed in the link they gave me and his name. I couldn't find him. I was like, well, he's not coming up on mine. And they kept saying, well, he's on ours. So what I did was I went to another one of my IG pages and I typed in the link and he came up, which indicated that he had blocked me. I never met him. I didn't even know. It was kind of a compliment. It was flattery in a sense. It was like, oh, wow, okay, I must be doing something right, because if you go block me and you don't know me, we never met each other. But if you were to look at what he's doing, I mean, we're doing something very similar. But even still, there's so many people out here that we all can't take everybody. Everybody's not going on the tours. It's not. So so that's what I'm saying. I don't know what the deal is with folks, but I hope that as people, here's the thing. when people about making money, they become very and I'm not against making money. All right, so let me say that I'm not one of them people either. I'm not against it. But when people are just strictly about making money, they become ruthless, and they become very tactical, and they become very gangster like, and that's fine. But eventually, what ends up happening is that those people eventually, well, I don't want to say they fizzle out, because some people live a whole lifetime doing that. But if they're strong in their game, well, here's what I know. I'll say it like this. I know that people who have had encounters with the one person that I saw, they have not had good business encounters, and they have felt swindled as a result. And that reputation is preceding this person as they go. And again, like I said, I was like, okay, wow, because they come from the platform of business and all these other kind of things. And so people feel, like they've been ripped off, or misled. That person will fall on their own sword in that regard. So I don't worry about it. Let's see. Hey, that's right, Johnny. You just got to use common sense. Stay calm. But I have gotten fired up a couple of times. I will not claim the saint role 100%, but I have not gone ballistic. I've been very firm, especially like at Art Center when they come swarming, and so they like, we know the rules, boss. We know the rules. I'm like, all right, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. I'm not trying to mess with y'all's money. We're all in this together. However, don't disrespect my people, And so we got a good understanding, and we text each other all the time. My folks, we are really. I have a healthy respect and a mutual respect, and that's how it goes. That's how we do it. All right, let's see. All right, everybody. Yes. All right, so I gave y'all a little extra tonight. I was talking about the visa process. We'll come back. I'll probably be back tomorrow night too, talking about the travel insurance, and we'll walk through that. But it's always good. If you have more questions, please feel free to send them our way. That's what we're doing. We are on our marathon. If you want to find out what we have happening, you can definitely join us in Africa. You can join us. Here's, there we go, bit.ly Travel Africa 2022. If you want to watch the travel show from the other night, it's a couple links after this one, but you can also watch it on demand right at that link right there, bit.ly Travel Africa 2022. Come on and join us. We have a great time. We have a lot of great discussions. All of our WhatsApp groups are still live right now. And please, now that you've heard the vision, make sure that you definitely pick up these books. This is how we keep the fire lit in the minds of our children, just like they know Charlie Brown and Dr. Seuss and name somebody, growing up. We're going to make Darren and Destiny, we're going to put them right out there so they can relate. And we're going to even do some additions for African countries, and it might end up being Kojo and Adwa. No. Yeah, Kojo and Adwa. And so, and we'll take those names, and so we'll see how we work this out. But listen, everybody, enjoy your evening, and we'll be back again. Don't forget to subscribe. Y'all know what to do. Make sure you click that subscribe button, hit the bell, and let people know what we talking about over here at Maximum Impact with Jay Cameron. Talk to you soon.